Hello and welcome back to the Everyday English Podcast. I am Sarah, and I am so happy you're joining us today for another deep dive into real-life English. If you are listening to this, maybe you are planning a big trip. Maybe you have a dream of visiting the United States, or the UK, or Canada. You have done the hard work. You applied for your visa. You went to the embassy. You answered all the difficult questions about your finances and your job. You got the stamp in your passport. You are ready to go. But Mark, I have a question for you. When is the most stressful moment of a trip? Is it the embassy interview?
Hi, Sarah, and hello, everyone. That is a great question. Most people think the embassy interview is the hardest part, and it is difficult for sure. But for me, the most stressful moment is when the plane lands. You have been flying for 10 hours. You are tired. You look terrible. You smell a little bit like airplane food. You walk off the plane and you see that long line of people. And at the front of the line, there are officers in uniforms. They are not smiling. They are watching everyone. That is the moment my heart starts beating fast.
Exactly. That is the moment we are talking about today. We are talking about immigration control or border control. This is the final test. You have your visa, but the officer at the airport has the power to let you in or send you home. It sounds scary, but do not worry. Today, we are going to teach you exactly what to say, how to say it, and how to understand what they ask you. We are going to turn that nervousness into confidence.
And this is different from the visa interview, right, Sarah? I think that is where a lot of students make mistakes. They think they need to give the same answers they gave at the embassy.
That is such an important point, Mark. Let's start there. The mindset shift. When you go to the embassy for your visa, you are trying to prove your life story. You bring documents. You explain your job in detail. You talk about your hopes and dreams. You want to show them you are a serious person. But at the airport, the situation is completely opposite. The officer at the border is not a counselor. They are not a friend. And honestly, they are usually in a hurry. They have 1,000 people to check. They do not want your life story. They want 3 things: speed, clarity, and safety.
Speed, clarity, and safety. I like that. So if the officer asks me a question, I should not give a long speech?
No, absolutely not. If you give a long speech at the border, you might actually make them suspicious. If they ask, "Why are you here?" and you say, "Well, ever since I was a young boy, I have dreamed of seeing the Statue of Liberty because my grandmother showed me a picture," stop. That is too much. You are blocking the line. The officer might think you are trying to hide something with all those words.
So the rule for today is short answers are safe answers.
Exactly. Short answers are safe answers. Throughout this episode, we are going to practice this. We will look at the 3 main categories of questions: the purpose, the accommodation, and the return. By the end of this hour, you will know exactly how to answer all of them perfectly. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe to the podcast right now so you never miss a lesson that helps you live your life in English.
Okay, Sarah, let's imagine we are at the front of the line. I hand over my passport, the officer looks at it, looks at me, and then asks the most common question in the world. What is the purpose of your visit?
This is the big one. What is the purpose of your visit? Sometimes they ask, "Why are you here?" or "What brings you to the US?" All of these mean the same thing. Now, Mark, based on our rule of short answers, how should we answer this?
I suppose we should use a noun phrase, not a full sentence.
Yes, a noun phrase is much better here. A noun phrase is just a noun or a noun with a little bit of description. You don't need a subject and a verb. You don't need to say, "I am here because," you can just say the reason. So if you are on vacation, what do you say?
Tourism. Just one word?
Just one word is perfect. Tourism. Or you can say vacation. It is clear, it is true, it is fast. The officer hears tourism, checks your visa type, and moves to the next question.
What if I am visiting my family? Can I say family?
You can, but visiting family is a little better. It is a very strong standard phrase, visiting family. If you want to be a little more specific, you can say visiting my sister or visiting my cousin, but keep it to that. You don't need to say, "I am visiting my sister because she just had a baby and I want to help her cook." That is too much information. Just visiting my sister.
Okay, here's a tricky one. What if I'm coming for work? I know this is a dangerous area for English learners.
Oh, this is a huge red flag. A red flag means a warning sign. You have to be very careful with the word work in English, and especially in immigration law. Work means you are receiving money from a company inside that country. If you say, "I am here for work," The officer thinks you are going to get a job in New York and take a salary from an American boss. If you have a tourist visa or a business visa, you cannot work.
Right, so if I am coming for a conference or a meeting with my clients, strictly speaking, that is my job. I am working, but I cannot say work. So what is the magic word?
The magic word is business. In immigration English, business means meetings, conferences, training, or negotiations. It means you are doing your job, but your money comes from your home country. So if the officer asks, "What is the purpose of your visit?" do not say work, say business, or meetings, or a conference.
That is such a crucial distinction. I can imagine someone getting detained just because they used the wrong word. They said work when they meant business.
It happens all the time, and then they have to spend 4 hours in a small room explaining that they are not actually taking a U.S. job. So remember, tourism, vacation, visiting family, or business. Choose the one that fits and keep it short.
Okay, I have stated my purpose. I said tourism. The officer nods. Now, usually they look down at their computer and ask the second big question, where are you staying?
Where are you staying? This question makes people nervous because they forget the details. The officer wants to know that you have a safe, specific place to sleep. They want to know you are not going to be homeless.
Do I need to memorize the address?
You should have the address written down or printed out on a piece of paper in your hand. Do not keep it in your suitcase. Have it in your hand. But you do not need to recite the whole address like a robot. You do not need to say, "I am staying at 123 Maple Street, apartment 4B, Brooklyn, New York, zip code 11201. That sounds weird. Instead, categorize your accommodation.
Categorize it. Okay, so if I am at a hotel?
Just say, "at a hotel." Usually the officer will ask which one. Then you say the name. The Hilton in Midtown. That is usually enough. If they want the street address, they will ask for it, or they will ask to see your confirmation paper.
What if I am staying with a friend?
This is very common. You say, "at a friend's house." But Mark, here is the tip. If you say "at a friend's house," be ready for the follow-up question. The officer will almost always ask, "where do they live?" or "what is their status?"
What is their status? What does that mean?
It means, are they a citizen? Do they have a green card? Are they also a student? The officer wants to make sure your friend is in the country legally. So you answer, "at a friend's house in Chicago. He is a U.S. citizen." That is a perfect, strong answer.
That reminds me of the word sponsor. We talked about this when we discussed visa applications. A sponsor is someone who takes financial responsibility for you. Does that matter at the border?
It does. If you told the embassy that your uncle is your sponsor, meaning he is paying for your trip and giving you a place to sleep, you must tell the border officer the same thing. Consistency is key. If the embassy thinks your uncle is paying, but you tell the border officer you are staying at a hostel, the computer will show a mismatch. That is a problem. So if you are staying with your sponsor, say that. "I am staying with my uncle. He is my sponsor."
I see. So don't change your story. The story you told the embassy must be the story you tell the airport.
Exactly. And one more tip about accommodation, Mark. This is a practical one. Know the zip code.
The zip code, really?
Yes. When you fill out the arrival card, sometimes it is paper, sometimes it is on a machine, you always need the zip code. And sometimes the officer asks, "where in New York?" If you just say New York, it is too big. If you say Brooklyn, it is still too big. But if you have the address printed, offer it to them. Say, "at a hotel. Here is the confirmation." Giving them a piece of paper is great because it stops the conversation. They read the paper, they type, and they don't ask you more questions.
I love that strategy. Here is the confirmation. It's polite, but it ends the chatting.
Yes. Remember, we are not trying to be rude, but we are trying to close the transaction. We want the stamp and we want to leave.
Okay, so we have covered purpose, tourism. We have covered accommodation, at the Hilton. Now the third big pillar, time. The officer asks, "how long are you staying?"
How long are you staying, or when do you leave? This is where grammar gets a little important. Mark, if I ask you how long are you staying, and you have a return ticket for 2 weeks from now, what do you say?
I would say 2 weeks.
Perfect. 2 weeks. Very clear. But sometimes students get nervous and they try to be vague. They say, maybe a few weeks, or I am not sure yet, or until I run out of money. Mark, never say I am not sure.
Oh, wow. No, I am not sure sounds like I might stay forever.
Exactly. Even if you have a visa that allows you to stay for 6 months, it is always better to have a specific plan. If you have a return ticket, use the date of that ticket. If your ticket is for November 15th, you say until November 15th.
So we can answer with a duration, like 2 weeks, or a date, like until November 15th.
Yes, both are perfect, but you must have proof. The officer might ask, do you have a return ticket?
And the answer must be yes.
The answer must be yes. And again, this is where the paper helps. You say, yes, I fly back on November 15th. Here is the ticket. You show them the paper. It proves you are not planning to live there illegally. It proves you have ties to your home, which is what we talked about in our last episode about visas. The return ticket is your best promise that you will go home.
What if I want to travel around? What if I enter New York, but I want to fly out of Los Angeles, so I don't have a specific date yet?
That is risky for a tourist. It is always better to have the flight booked. But if you really don't, you need to show you have the money to buy one. However, for 99% of travelers, my advice is book the return flight before you fly. It makes the conversation at the border 10 times easier. If you say, I don't know when I am leaving, the officer thinks he is looking for a job.
Right. They are trained to be suspicious. So clarity removes suspicion.
Clarity removes suspicion. That is the motto of today.
Okay, Sarah, I feel like we have the 3 pillars: purpose, accommodation, time. But there are some other random questions they throw at you, right? Just to check you out?
Yes, sometimes they ask small talk questions, but they are not really small talk. They might ask, what do you do back home? This is checking your job. Again, keep it simple. I am an engineer. I am a student. Do not explain your daily tasks.
Or they might ask, how much cash are you carrying?
Yes, that is a big one. There are rules about how much cash you can bring. Usually, if it is over $10,000, you have to declare it. But for most people, you answer with the amount. I have $500 in cash and my credit cards. Mentioning the credit cards is good because it shows you have access to money. I have $500 and my credit cards. That sounds solid. It shows I'm not broke, but I'm not smuggling money. Exactly. Also, sometimes they ask, do you know anyone here? This is a trick question if you said you were staying at a hotel for tourism. If you said tourism, staying at a hotel, and then they ask, do you know anyone here? And you say, yes, my boyfriend lives in Queens, you have a problem.
Ah, I see. Because now the officer thinks, wait, are you here for tourism, or are you here to marry your boyfriend and stay forever?
Precisely. The answers must match. If you are here for tourism and you just have a friend you might have dinner with, you can mention them, but be casual. I have a friend from college, but I am here for sightseeing. But if the main reason is the boyfriend, you should have said visiting boyfriend at the beginning. Do not hide things, but do not complicate things. It feels like a dance. You have to be honest, but efficient. It is a dance, and the music is fast. You have to keep up.
I think it's time we put this into practice. We've talked about the theory, but our listeners need to feel what it's like.
I agree. Let's do a simulation. This is the Everyday English roleplay. In a moment, Mark is going to act as the immigration officer. He is going to be a little bit strict. He is not going to smile. I want you, the listener, to answer his questions out loud. Yes, speak to your phone or your computer. I will leave a silence after Mark speaks. I want you to fill that silence with your short, safe answer.
Are you ready? Imagine you have just landed. You are standing at the booth. I look up at you. Here we go.
Remember the context. You are coming for a 2-week vacation. You are staying at the Marriott Hotel. You have a return flight. Ready? Go. In a slightly deeper, more formal tone. Passport, please.
Okay, what is the purpose of your visit?
Silence for listener to say tourism or vacation. Formal tone. And how long do you intend to stay? Silence for listener to say 2 weeks or until date. Formal tone. Where will you be staying? Silence for listener to say at the Marriott Hotel. Formal tone. Do you have a return ticket? Silence for listener to say, yes, here it is.
Formal tone. Okay, welcome to the United States.
And cut! Great job! How did that feel? Did you freeze? Did you try to say a long sentence?
I hope you said tourism and not I am here because I love movies.
Let's try it one more time, but this time let's change the scenario. This is important because your situation might be different. This time you are visiting your sister. She lives in London. You are staying at her house. You are staying for 1 month. Okay? Visiting sister, her house, 1 month. Mark, you are up.
Next, passport, please. What is the purpose of your trip? Where does your sister live? And where will you be staying?
And that is exactly what we will cover in the next episode. We are going to guide you through your first hour in the city, how to ask for a ticket, how to ask, does this bus go to downtown, and how not to get lost. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. You are going to need those phrases.
Sarah, before we go, can we do a quick recap of the 3 gold standard answers?
Yes, let's burn these into our memories. Question 1, purpose. Answer, tourism or visiting family or business. Question 2, accommodation. Answer, at a hotel or at a friend's house. Have the address ready. Question 3, duration. Answer, 2 weeks or until date. Have the ticket ready.
Simple, clear, safe.
I hope this episode makes you feel lighter. I hope it takes that heavy weight of anxiety off your shoulders. You have worked hard to learn English. You have worked hard to get your visa. You deserve to enjoy your trip. The officer at the border is just one small bump in the road. You can handle it.
Practice the roleplay section of this video a few times. Do it in the shower. Do it while you are cooking. Get comfortable saying tourism loudly and clearly.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everyday English podcast. We are here to help you live your life in English, one conversation at a time. Good luck with your travels, be safe, be brave, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
See you next time.